Welcome to this edition of Weather to Watch. It's Friday the 13th, June 13th, 2025. Still got some active weather this weekend, and as that map right there indicates, active weather next week as well. Well, we're looking at a lot of activity next week, but leading up to Monday through Friday of next week, where you see these hazards here, we've got plenty of weather in between. Let's take a look at the National Visible Satellite Loop on this Friday afternoon. This catches your attention right away. We'll take a closer look at that feature here in just a second. The mountain areas are seeing a scattering of thunderstorms from New Mexico all the way up to Montana. There's a severe weather outlook in that area, and several watches we'll cover. Let's zoom in on this feature here. This is this upper level system, which doesn't look that impressive in terms of the pressure lines. I mean, it's a little trough of low pressure. Okay, we've seen closed off circulations for the last 6 months or more that have looked more impressive than that. But what's nice about this time of year is when you get the convection going, the thunderstorms and the showers, it makes for a really pretty picture. And here's a close-up loop of that low as it meanders, basically that's the word for it, through central and southern Missouri here. You can see stronger jet stream winds are blowing the cirrus clouds off of these cells right here. Look at that. That's just amazing to look at. The severe weather threat is mostly here. These are just heavier showers. I haven't heard any thunder here in Springfield yet. Not really expecting any. There's even a possibility in the unstable air here, and you can see one or two showers, maybe a thunderstorm right around Tulsa there. There is some severe weather possible there, but not very widespread. Most of it is either connected with this or the activity I'll show you out in Montana here in just a second. Here is a quick look at the surface map. We have just kind of a daisy chain of cold, warm, and stationary fronts across the central U.S., from Montana all the way to Iowa, all the way to Virginia. And this is causing most of the significant weather, with the exception of this upper level system, which does have a reflection at the surface. Very weak low pressure, very weak. In fact, the winds are already back out of the south here on this side of that low, so not terribly impressive. A severe thunderstorm watch, actually two of them in effect for central and mostly central, a little bit of eastern Montana. So Billings is definitely included in that. You see a smattering of potential supercells developing there, and also through Wyoming, eastern Wyoming, in fact, down to even northeastern parts of Colorado as well. This is well in line with where this Storm Prediction Center has put a level 2 out of 5 risk for today. That runs from the panhandle of Texas all the way up to Montana, where they did put out a level 3 out of 5 for central Montana there for a while. And much of that activity is pushed on, though, so I think that maybe especially the western part of that outlook area probably doesn't need to be monitored as closely. Then just kind of a smattering of other areas, one along the front here and one out ahead of that upper level low. The tornado risk is generally low, but there is a 2% risk from, let's say, northeast of Denver, around Sterling, Colorado, not quite including Cheyenne, much of eastern Wyoming, and up to around the Billings, Helena area. But like I said, this part of the area is probably, at least for today, in the clear. So take a look at NATOcast. They do put a little bit of a tornado potential, about 3%, that in that area there. I think, though, that model, this is model data from 7 a.m. this morning, so probably this part is not really that valid, or it may have shifted a little bit over to the east. Meanwhile, northeast Colorado still has a little bit of a threat, maybe around Evansville and Indiana, with some of those showers and thunderstorms. If you're curious about severe thunderstorm outlooks for the next 7 days and the potential for severe weather even beyond that, I produce a daily video called Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. Got some heavy areas of rain still, and this is a common theme. So this is the radar snapped at late this afternoon. So here's Houston right here. This entire area is a flood watch in anticipation that these showers and thunderstorms are going to be moving and are already in the flood watch area. Meanwhile, we go up to Virginia, and there's a flood watch in effect there. Here's Richmond right here. And while there haven't been a lot of showers and thunderstorms yet, this activity is expected to blossom. This activity is going to slide north, and then eventually this activity activity will get there. So all three of those combined will produce what looks to be a slight risk for a heavy rain hazard here in that very area where the watch has been issued, and then arcing out ahead of that upper level low in that area I already showed you where the flood watch down in coastal areas of Texas and Louisiana. If we go to Saturday, it's the same threat around the area of Virginia. That's why the flood watch is in effect. I think it picks up a little bit there across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. We'll have to monitor that. They've just had a lot of water, so it won't take a lot of rain to cause a problem there. And then again, day 3, this is Sunday, and I didn't shift the label, but that's what this is for. So you can, it's any wonder why this area just off to the east of the Appalachians, and including the Appalachians, there might even be some orographic effects there, are going to be getting a lot of rain over the next 3 days. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at the total precipitation, this is the forecast issued by the Weather Prediction Center, and it does show areas 2 to 3 inch rain totals common in Virginia and up through Iowa and parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota. They're looking at some heavy rain totals as well. And this is the next 3 days, so this is at the end of that period. So this is actually Sunday. I'm staying corrected. I didn't change it. This is the next 5 days. I'm trying to make sense of this, and it didn't. So that's 5. I didn't change that number. Now this graph makes sense because we have these areas of heavy rain that are forecast for the period Monday through Friday that shifts eastward with time next week. We've got some severe weather areas that we need to watch out for. I'll get more details on that in the video I issued this morning, but here they are: South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, maybe including Chicago, but parts of Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin for later in the week next week. Well, here in Tucson, I showed you on that graphic, we had that hazardous weather outlook for hot weather. So this is the GFS version of highs in Tucson for the next, well, actually 10 days or more. But you can see 109 degrees peak on Sunday there, 108 degrees on Friday, and everything above 100 until Monday the following week. Tropical Atlantic forecast, not watching really anything over the tropical Atlantic. In the tropical eastern Pacific, we have Dahlia that has formed, a tropical storm there, looking at an area of disturbed weather just south of the southern tip of Mexico. Here are the next 3 names that would be on the list. Eric, Flossie, and Gil would be the next name storms out there. And just for reference, here's Texas. Here's Baja, and here's Hawaii. Most of these storms drift into colder water and die pretty quick. We can take a look at the satellite loop of this developing system here. Pretty good little swirl developing as the upper level clouds blow outwards and the inner lower clouds blow inward, which is very typical and actually necessary to get the tropical storm or any low pressure area to deepen. Here's a look at high temperatures on Saturday. The country has been cool, basically, and you're still seeing remnants of that. Green and blue are below normal temperatures. The high will be 60 in Boston today, Saturday. Very, very cool start to the weekend. Meanwhile, it'll be 86 degrees around Cheyenne, 92 in Denver, and as you saw, very, very hot in the southwestern part of the country. And we're beginning to wear this off a little bit. The below normal little band of green and blue is starting to disconnect a little bit. The above normal temperatures are beginning to spread and take up more territory. Here in Springfield, Monday, 86 degrees, getting pretty toasty. And then on Wednesday, coming up this week, more below normal than not. Coastal areas of the west will cool down a little bit in the northwest. Meanwhile, it'll be still in the 100-degree range around Phoenix, 109, and 96 in Dallas on Wednesday, and getting well into the 80s far north. Finally, New England is starting to see some higher temperatures. Still a little bit cold with that offshore low-pressure area, but that will begin to recover even after Wednesday. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.